describing Norwegian people as cold, selfish, sad, or angry, and that's something completely wrong, I would say.
One of my colleagues brought his kids, I think when his kid was 3 months. And one of the other colleagues asked if she can hold the baby. And he said, if she wants to go to you, go ahead and just take it.
I cried a lot. I cried a lot when I was about to come back and when I actually came back because I was scared. I was scared to miss all the beauty I found and I experienced in those months.
Today's episode is with Sara. She came to Norway for an Erasmus internship, but when she went back to Italy, something had changed. It wasn't just a seasonal stay. It affected her more than she expected. So today we're going to unpack that. So welcome, Sara. I'm really glad to have you here.
Thank you. Good evening.
So before we talk about Norway, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your study, and what you're doing now?
Of course. So I'm Sara and I'm 24. I'm studying psychology and actually I currently I am studying in my master degree, about to finish. That is something that I had to say. So I am in that critical phase in life in which you have to understand what to do next. Yeah, and I also went to Norway to complete my internship program that I did thanks to the Erasmus Plus project. And I spent 3 months and a bit more, less than 4, but more than 3 months in Oslo. Yeah.
So did you come for taking courses or just for a research stay?
No, I didn't attend any course except one that my supervisor suggested me to attend, which was very close to the topic of my internship. So, yeah, I basically had a research experience there about music, perception, groove, and habituation that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, nice. So why did you choose Norway specifically?
I chose Norway for a couple of reasons. First of all, I was scrolling the list of countries in which I could have complete my internship, and as soon as I saw Norway, I had a kind of flashback when I was a teenager, and I was basically dreaming to visit that northern country that is described like very cold, very far. And I was very curious of this place, and I always dreamt myself visiting Norway. And the other reason is that my supervisor, like the person that became my supervisor, was really, really open and answered very quickly to my request. And basing on his availability, I took immediately this opportunity to be there.
So I'm curious, what are other options you found when you were scrolling the Erasmus list?
Okay. Actually, I had that feeling of not being so much satisfied, while sending emails to other places. But I was also looking for something in Germany, something in France, sometimes also in some countries in Africa, just to, I don't know, have a cool experience and also like something that not everybody does. So I was curious to, experience something that not everybody usually do.
How was your impression about? Did you have the same expectation? Was your reality close to your expectation?
Not really. It was better than expected. I remember when I first took the bus from the airport to my residence, I was looking from the window of the bus and I realized that how many people were smiling and seems very relaxed on the street. I remember specifically this moment in which two people randomly met outside and they say hi like come on and let's have a hug, and that was completely different from what people outside Norway usually tell you about Norway, describing Norwegian people as some cold, selfish, sad, or angry. And that's something completely wrong, I would say, basing on my experience.
I think the weather depends. So in which month did you come?
Yeah, I think you are right because I reached the end of September and I came back to Italy before Christmas, so around the middle of December. And another fun fact is that everybody in Italy was telling me to cover up like very carefully and to go there with the 2-3 scarf, 2-3 hats because it was very cold. And at the end of September, I reached my residence completely, suffering the hot weather actually. Yeah, because I was overdressed for that climate. Yeah.
So did you use all your layers that you that you came with?
Not really. Some items stayed in my wardrobe for 3 months. I was also about to buy the chains for the shoes to don't sleep upper on the ice, but luckily I didn't buy it because I realized that it was too early to have that
Yeah, you need to
problem.
have ice. So when the
Yeah.
temperature gets cold and a little bit warmer, then we have the ice,
Mhm.
then it's slippery. But if
Yeah.
it's only snow, then no need for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Since you came to Norway, not to attend the classes, you came in like research visit. So maybe you didn't have colleagues and classmates that helps you to have community and to socialize. So how was your social life? Did you face loneliness in Norway during your visit?
I never felt loneliness during my visit, and this is something really unique, I would say. And this is thanks to the research center I was hosted by, because it was full of people available to have a conversation during lunchtime. And that short conversation the day after became a little bit more long conversation. And then it was an invitation to spend a Saturday together outside. And after that Saturday outside, we were like willing to repeat that experience. So in 3 months, I didn't expect that, but I could also build few meaningful friendships that I still take inside my heart. Yeah.
I remember you told me also that you participated in some organizations, I think, that help for social life. Can
Yes.
you tell us about this?
Sure. At the very beginning of my experience, in that period in which I didn't already build some friendship at the research center, I was looking online about some activities to do in Oslo. And it was really fascinating to see that Oslo Kommune website was publishing a list of associations and group of people that volunteering were organizing to have experience outside. I remember I had this bonfire in the night with nice people, especially trustable people, or I started taking this cold bath on the Sundays morning with Norwegian people actually. So I also had the chance to don't stay only with foreign people, but I also had the chance to meet and talk and live certain experiences with people from there.
So you said you tried cold bath? You tried the sauna where you swim in the ice water?
Yes, I had the sauna only once during that period because I also had a free week in which I traveled. And my first sauna was in Tromsø, and that was really cool. But in general, when I first started taking cold bath, it was just a bath. So every Sunday morning, I used to meet with a group of Norwegian people carrying warm clothes, having a very strong cold bath, but was very energizing. And yeah, it used to make me feel better and very energetic for the rest of the day. And something really nice that I remember is that every time after those baths, they used to offer some kanelbolle with a hot drink with cafe. And so we also had the chance to spend 10 minutes to conversate a little bit between each other.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you expect one day that you will do that while you were in Italy?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah. If you do something like this in Italy, people think that you are a bit crazy. That is understandable because it's not something common to do so. But in Norway, I think it's part of the culture and it has a meaning. Here, it doesn't have. So as soon as it has a meaning, then it's something approved.
What do you think this meaning is for Norwegians?
Well, I don't want to say something that is not accurate. But I think that is a moment for yourself and for the people. For yourself, because taking cold bath has good consequences on your body. It helps you to develop a certain control on yourself, on your breath. And also, actually, based on my experience, I felt very energetic for the rest of the day, which is a very good thing. And at the same time, it's also something for the people. And I'm saying that if you have this habit to meet people every Sunday, then you will never spend time completely alone. So it's also a social moment to share something. I also remember that the first bath, as soon as I entered the water, I was breathing too quickly and I had this kind of shock, you know? And people around me, which didn't know who I was, why I was there, started teaching me how to build this control on my breath. So I found it something very, very generous, and they had a kind of care on me that I really appreciate from basically strangers.
That's nice. So you found like something completely different from what you heard about Norwegians.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that a person that helps you to don't suffer in a cold bath, it's not a person which is selfish and, rude.
Yeah, that's true. I also had a similar experience when I was going to try ice skating for the first time in my life. I tried it in Norway and I was very scared and I was wearing the skate in the wrong way and I was going to give up. I was very scared to fall down.
Hmm.
And then like the someone was working there, he's a Norwegian guy. He came and showed me how to wear properly and he started helping me how to do the first steps.
Yeah,
So
I completely understand.
I think without him, I would give up forever on ice skating.
Yes, yes, yes. People, I think, helps you to never give up.
Some people also say that Norwegians don't help unless you ask for help. So, do you think
Hmm.
this is true?
Actually, I don't know because maybe I never lived a moment of need in which then I didn't find anybody available. But also, I am that kind of person that easily ask for help if it's needed. So, what can I say is that as soon as you have a doubt or as soon as you need something, people will be there in general. Then I don't know if they don't realize if you are in it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe some stuff we are used to, like for example, if you're carrying something heavy or something. In some countries, people, or at least women, expect that they receive help from others, like from strong men or something. But I think this is not the case in Norway.
Yeah, that can be true. Maybe it's because they believe in your own abilities and skills independently on your gender. Maybe that is also something good, I guess. It also helps you to build your own strength to do things, but I don't think that it exclude 100% the availability of another person.
Yes, exactly. From my experience and other experiences, if you ask for help, you will definitely find it.
Hmm. Yeah.
You said that you went to Norway because you were kind of running out from something in Italy or you wanted to have a cool experience.
Hmm.
So, did you find something in Norway that you couldn't find in Italy?
Interesting question. Actually, I would say that um, what really pushed me to have this experience was curiosity about what I can choose for my future, at least the next future. And, at the end of a master degree, I asked myself what I want to do. And I wanted to also take in consideration the research field, and there is also what I did in Oslo. So I had the opportunity to understand by being in that field what it actually means. And even here, it was better than expected. I was expecting like to suffer a lot, to feel, a bit underqualified to do this, which was not true. I really felt valued for what I could have bring there, but at the same time, People also taught me a lot, which is also the purpose of an internship, to learn. So offering and learning at the same time, it's the best combination for this kind of experience. And so, yeah, I was escaping from a condition of feeling a bit lost, and I gained something that clarified my ideas and my thoughts.
How about the work environment on your relation with your teachers? Did you have a similar relation or similar behavior from teachers like compared to Italy and Norway?
Absolutely not. In Norway, my supervisor was always available to answer my questions if I had any doubt about what I was doing. Also, we had a lot of cafe together also with the other colleague. It felt like, sometime you wake up in the morning and you just want to share few words with someone, and my professor was there. So this is something really nice because you understand that you are not something less than a professor. Of course, the professor is there to teach you something that you don't know yet. But talking about being human, you realize that you and the professor are the same thing. Here in Italy, it's a bit different because the professor is there just to teach and is rarely available to have a conversation. It sounds like something very weird, something that is not, I don't want to say allowed, but if you have a conversation with your professor, other people start thinking that it's weird, that maybe you are talking because you want to obtain something. And it's, a bit um, bad feeling. Yeah.
And now that you're back in Italy, did you readapt again to Italy, or you still think that you're more adapted to the Norwegian environment?
Even before coming back physically, in my mind, I was telling myself that I wanted to bring something Norwegian in Italy. That means that I wanted to bring what I found very good there in my place. That
Like
is
what?
something. Um, for example, the availability for people, the self-care, which is also going hiking in the weekend, something good for your body, for your mind, for your friends, inviting people to do something together, which is something very typical in Norway, I guess. At least I had this experience because here, usually I tend to stay at home in my free time and basically waste my time without caring about myself. And that is something also bad, but sometimes without having bad intention, but you take some relationship for granted, and that it's not how it works. Yes.
Yeah, I think also the fact that you were staying for a temporary stay, it made you try to appreciate as much as you can, I guess.
Of course. I remember the last periods that I spent there, I was feeling that I didn't want to come back. Not because I'm not attached to my country, maybe I am, but also I am coming from a very atypical background. So I am a mix of 100 billion different things that allows me to being open for new places, new opportunities, new experiences. And I was asking myself, why don't do I stay here? The reason was like the answer is that I had to write a thesis and graduate here in Italy. So I had to finish something that I started. But I am already thinking about finding a job, maybe in Norway, even if I know that I have to learn the language. It takes time. But if I have this opportunity, why not?
So now you're thinking about coming back to Norway.
For sure, I want to come back to meet my colleagues again, which are also my friends. At the same time, I can't forget that feeling of feeling at home when I am not at home. And that's something, I repeat, really rare. So if I had this luck to feel this way in this very far country, then, it's very natural to have this feeling to want to come back there. So I will be updated about any job opportunity. I will see. And I am really open to everything that the future me.
Does this align with your career plan?
Why not, I would say, because currently I'm studying psychology of education and developmental psychology. But In Italy, I have this opportunity to choose a lot of different courses, and I learned and I'm following a lot the social psychology field, but also the clinical dynamic field. So maybe for something related to social psychology, I will be, I guess, prepared to do this kind of profession, at least for the next future. And then I don't know about my specialization. I have a lot of interest. Yes, no, for sure. Like I know that the language is required, and that means that I have to focus on that if it's something that I really want to do.
So then you will have a clinical service. This is what you will have in case you follow social psychology.
No, I also am into clinical psychology, but since I'm not studying it in my master degree, I guess it's very important to first attend a psychotherapy school that requires 3-4 more years. At least in Italy it works like that. So I don't think that I am enough prepared for clinical activity right now, but all the rest related to social psychology, I would say yes. That means, for example, working with migrants, working with families, working with the children. Why not? Yeah.
Then if you work with immigrants, maybe you will not have to have a fluent Norwegian.
That can be something that helps me to start a Norwegian life in these terms. But in any case, if I will have this opportunity to work there, I know that other than a job reason, I want to learn the language. I want to talk to people. I want to share the same meanings while I have a conversation.
Now that you talked about social psychology, can you tell us what the social psychology teaches you about the social aspect and the difference between Norwegians and Italians?
Okay. The first thing I want to say is that by studying social psychology, I realized how important is the social constructions of what we intend when we talk about reality, how we describe the world. And something very interesting that I found during my studies is to start understanding the world from the people. Basing on their experience, you know how the world is built. And I really got astonished when I realized the importance given to kids, to children. Children are basically small adults. At least they are taken in consideration more seriously than, I don't want to say the rest of the world, because I'm not coming from the rest of the world. I'm coming from Italy, but I would see a huge difference between here and there. And it's also interesting the difference about and between families. In Norway, I guess, thanks to human rights recognition, people could have built many different kind of families. So family is not only one thing; it's a multitude of things. And here in Italy, people are still fighting for that, which is something a bit hard to be in.
You mean that here they prioritize family more than they do in Italy, for example?
I think that they prioritize human rights more than here. Also, the welfare is much more advanced there than here. That means that the government gives more priority, attention, and importance to their citizen by offering something that increase your quality of life. Here in Italy, we are facing hard times, politically talking, but I hope that in the next future things could be better.
Yeah, going back to how they treat their kids. Actually, I was impressed when I first came to Norway, how they treat them. Because they treat them as adults. And they give them the freedom to choose what they want. And I remember, one of my colleagues, when he had a baby, he brought his kids, I think when his kid was maybe 3 months or a little bit more. And one of the other colleagues asked if she can hold the baby. And he said, she will choose. If she wants to go to you, go ahead and just take it. So imagine, even a few months, year old, and they have the freedom to choose. As a psychologist, how do you think this could affect the psychology and the character of a person in the future? Is this behavior make their character special compared to other countries who don't do that?
I would say so. It's a personal answer, but it's also based on what I studied. I remember my bachelor thesis I wrote that was about attachment. And it's very important for the future of an individual, the attachment built in uh, the first stages of life between him or her and the mother, especially. But not only, it's also something very interesting because a lot of studies, almost all of them, focused on the relationship between the kid and the mother. But I also guess that the father has a very big impact on how the kids will develop and also build an attachment to the kid. If the kid feel himself to be autonomous, to be able to choose independently of the mother's love or the father's love that doesn't interfere, that is just something extremely good for how this individual will perceive him or herself in the next stages of life. It builds a very strong autonomy, a very strong self-esteem. Yes. And you are also aware that even if you go exploring your environment, there's always your mother or your father there for loving you.
Did coming to Norway have a big effect on your choices and your career path?
Well, career path, I don't know. I don't know it yet because right now I'm not looking for a job. I will think about it in few months. About my personal path, I would say definitely yes. I cried a lot. I cried a lot when I was about to coming back and when I actually came back because I was scared. I was scared to miss all the beauty I found and I experienced in those months. And I was really, really careful to don't miss this beautiful thing. So I also had a responsibility on myself to, don't feeling lost again and to keeping cultivate the good I learned and I took from this experience.
I think your story is surprising and interesting because usually people, especially coming from Mediterranean area, they usually say that they were in a warm environment, and when they came to Norway, it was colder. So, in your case, didn't you find this feeling of warmness of people and that they care about others in Italy?
I think that both of things are stereotypes. That means that there's a base of truth, but also the rest is something, a bit inaccurate. What can I say basing on my personal experience is that, as I was saying before, I am a very complicated person. That means that my background is a mix of 100 billion things. I'm Italian, born in Italy. I have Egyptian background. I am living in a Christian country, basically. Like the majority of people are Christian, and I'm not Christian. And, I also spent most of my life not living in a city but in a countryside that also made everything worse. Here in Italy, personally, I felt very hard to find people really warm, like really available there to host your emotions, which can be good emotion or bad at the same time, while just spending 3-4 months in Norway, this was something really easy to find. And it was, of course, unexpected. So there I found people available to talk about whatever you wanted to say that day, which can be something nice, something fun, something sad. People were there to support you. People were there to encourage you to be the best version of yourself. People were there also to do something very, silly, even something silly together. And that's also something I still keep in my heart.
And do you think that this was a special case or it's something very common in Norwegian environment?
Hopefully, I hope. Yeah, I hope it's something common in Norwegian environment. I can't say it, of course, because I met people coming from different places. Not all of them were Norwegian, but I also met Norwegian people that asked me to have a cafe together outside. People to which I am still in touch with. I also have this proof that a Norwegian person is still texting me, asking how is my life. And, it's something, this is something warming. Yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah.
So if someone is watching and thinking about having a similar experience and come to Norway, would you recommend that to them?
Of course. I recommend that with a suggestion to being open. Don't think that all that matters is your country, is your culture, is your language and your food. These are things that are important, of course. It's part of your identity, but it's not everything that counts. I think that the difference, something new, gives a lot more than what you already know.
Yeah, now let's move to food. I don't know if you know it, but I've seen in some resources online.
Mhm.
In this resource, it says that Norway has the worst kitchen in the world, and Italy is one of the best. I think maybe it's top 3 at least. So, as an Italian who lived in Norway, how did you cope with food?
The best thing is that at least in Norway you find salmon. And I think it's one of the best food you can ever have during your day. One thing that I have experienced is that if I wanted to go to a Norwegian restaurant, it was really hard to find it. But at least Oslo is full of restaurants, ethnic restaurants. So you can have whatever you want, and the food there is delicious. I ate a lot of ethnical food instead of Norwegian food. But when I used to ask Norwegian people what's their typical dish, they would say salmon and potatoes. And other people were, and me also, I was like always asking, but do you make it like in a very special way? Do you add spices or do you cook it in a sophisticated way? And they say, no, you just take a pan, put potatoes, put salmon, and that's it. Enjoy. But yeah, that's true. And I don't think it's so bad. Also, Italian food as well is it's very good. Maybe it's a bit more sophisticated. We have that lasagna, that pizza, that, pasta. I can't say anything against Italian food, but at the same time, anything bad against Norwegian food. Maybe just lack of choices, different choices. We just have potatoes and salmon. You can do something better, I guess. But yeah.
Or maybe some bread and salad, maybe.
Yeah, bread and salad.
So, do you think that they deserve to have the worst kitchen?
No, I think that there are other countries. I don't know which one. I don't want to say anything bad, but there should be a worse kitchen compared to the Norwegian one. I don't think it's that bad. Of course, there will be some weird dishes that I will never try, but yeah, I think that in general it's acceptable. When I came back to Italy, I was talking to my housemate about my experience, and my housemate made this joke that, but if you go to Norway, you will never have lasagna, you will never have pasta. This is all that matters in life. And it's what a typical Italian person will tell you. Like, but if you move outside, if you go abroad, you will never eat pasta, proper lasagna, proper pizza. Mamma mia. Yes. So it was a joke because, we are comparing food to a very meaningful experience, which of course are not the same thing. So, yeah. What do you want to choose, food or a good experience?
So, if you move to Norway permanently, do you think that food would be a problem for you? Since they have
No,
less variety and you will not eat the proper pizza, proper lasagna.
I can make proper lasagna and proper pizza. I don't think it's a very huge obstacle. Like, I think that it can be manageable. Like, I don't have problems in eating any kind of dish, Like, I can go for months by eating just salmon and potatoes. It's fine for me. But if I really miss Italian kitchen, that can also happen. I know how to make a nice pizza at home or how to cook my lasagna. It's not something that keeps me back here and don't allow me to move.
So, if someone is watching and thinks about coming to Norway, is there something else that you think it's important to know?
Yeah, something that I didn't experience myself, but it's about the dark months because a lot of people told me that it's very hard to live these long, dark months and that affects their mood. That is really understandable, and this is something to know before taking this decision. But personally, I didn't live in those dark months. I just have an idea of what that can mean. But yeah, as I said, I went there from September to December and it was acceptable. Like I didn't suffer that much.
December is is the darkest month, but I think you can still support December because it starts to be longer after January, at the end of January, and also
Mhm.
February, then it starts to be lighter. Then you start to feel
Mhm.
better. But I think
Okay.
like the most difficult month, maybe the end of January, because then you will start to feel that it's very long winter.
Yeah, it can be.
Until December, I think you can support it.
Yeah. I was about to say that in December, maybe the days are very dark and, you have just a few hours of light. But at the same time, December is also the period of holidays, Christmas holidays, the New Year time. So I remember that people used to compensate the darkness with a lot of parties, with a lot of party mood, something like
Gatherings.
that. Gatherings, yes. And this is something really important to don't isolate yourself, but stay in touch with people and try your best to do something with people and to participate if people ask you to do something together.
So do you think that Italians can survive in a very quiet environment with no sunshine every day?
Who knows? I think that Italian people are very good in compensating moments of silence and darkness because they are very
Active,
active. Yes, they are very active. They are loud
energetic?
in yes, in emotions, but also it's evident when an Italian is there in a good sense, of course, especially during Christmas time. It's very important in the Italian culture. So at least in December, January, maybe they are able to pass successfully this hard period.
Yeah, that's so good. And did you struggle with coffee?
Not at all. The first cafe I had in Oslo scared me because I thought it was a kind of Americano, the American coffee. But it's something completely different, I would say, because the taste is very unique. And as soon as I tried for the first time, I fell in love with that. In Italy, we used to drink espresso, which is a like little amount of coffee. But I just say that there are two completely different things. It doesn't mean that if I drink espresso, then I can't drink the Norwegian coffee. I appreciate both of them.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sarah, for your inputs.
Thank
I
you.
liked your story, and I hope that listeners also found it inspiring. I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate the episode with you.
Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. And for our listeners, thank you so much for listening. And we hope that you found it useful. And if you have a question, maybe practical questions about how to get Erasmus, we covered this in a separate episode. That's why I didn't ask you here.
Mhm.
But if you have a question, other questions related to that or related to anything, just drop a comment. And I hope to see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye. Because they treat them as adults and they.
Sorry.
One of my colleague had a baby, and when
Mhm.
she
Oh,
brought
please, sorry. Now it's me. Now it's
yeah, I
I'm
avoided
sorry.
looking at you to don't look don't look at me
Sorry, now
then.
it's my
Try
fault.
to I should go back seriously now.
Breathe. Train kids have human rights.
God, this word. Sorry, I'm wasting your
No, you're not.
time. Going back to the how they treat kids, I also was surprised with that.
Maybe I should not talk about. We can change topic if you want. Breathe. Drink some water.
Okay, yeah. So I also was surprised.
Do you want to take a break?
Yeah, maybe we can take.